So one of the main ingredients, and I know they don't work for everyone, and I'm sorry, chickpeas aren't always a favourite, but for those of you who can tolerate them, chickpeas are actually a superfood. Did you know that? They're rich in protein, they're high in fibre, they've got lots of nutrients and minerals, and they're what we need. They work really well in our system. They scrub up our veins and keep the cholesterol down, and they do a really good job. So if you can tolerate them, then do. And in fact, the amazing thing is that all these chickpeas, here's Deborah, you know, she gets all around the country, she's not even listening to me, and she supplied all the chickpeas. They were all frozen in the freezer here. She said, they're canned chickpeas and they've been frozen. Do you think they'll be all right? And I'm like, who would empty a can of chickpeas out and freeze it? Like, who would do that? Anyway, she's got on to this little vegan restaurant in Wellington, and they do a lot of desserts, and they use the brine from the chickpeas from the can, but they don't use the chickpeas. They make a lot of desserts with it. It's a vegan restaurant. So all these chickpeas are going to waste. So every time she goes to Wellington, she goes to the restaurant, loads up ice cream containers of chickpeas that are going to be tossed otherwise, and they go in the freezer at wherever she stays in Wellington, and then she brings them down on the plane and puts them in the freezer here. Can you believe that? So all these, and they're great chickpeas, I have to say, they're great. So anyway, thanks Deborah. So I'm actually going to demonstrate the chickpea patties for you tonight, and it's a relatively fast recipe. So without any further ado, if you're looking at your page, we have got an chickpea patty recipe, and for the camera, half a cup of bulgur wheat. Who's familiar with bulgur wheat? So for you, actually, I've got it here. It's kind of like it's like a kibbled wheat, but it's like the heart of the wheat. And I buy it from Binnin in bulk. So, but if you're gluten-free, instead of bulgur wheat, because it isn't gluten-free, then I've used in the gluten-free patties brown rice. Okay, so for you who are gluten-free, looking at this recipe, you simply substitute the bulgur wheat for brown rice, and you use gluten flour instead of normal flour. So it's easily translatable over to gluten-free people. So I'm going to put the lemon juice in first into my Magi mix, which makes life easy when you're cooking bulk. I've got 1 can of chickpeas here that's been drained. And the bulgur wheat is here. It's already been, all you do is soak it. So if it was brown rice, you just have to cook it. But this is just soaked. It takes very little time, half a cup in a cup of boiling water, and it puffs up and doubles in size. And it goes into our mixer as well. The next option is some herbs or some spices, some parsley from our garden. You know, if you add fresh herbs to any menu, you're increasing your nutrients by 100-fold. So get as much as you can of fresh herbs into your food, on your food, in your salad, because your nutritional content just goes up 100-fold, 1,000-fold, yeah. So some garlic. Garlic is the highest antioxidant food. It's also superfood. So we use it when we're feeling unwell. If we feel bugs are coming on, garlic will do it. I'm just throwing mine on the floor, but anyway, hopefully some of it will get into the blender. It's the worst thing when you talk with your hands and you. It's got quite a bit of salt in it, but that's up to you. 2 teaspoons in that amount. And then we've got some cumin powder, cumin. I always call it cumin, but anyway, most people call it cumin. So how much are we putting in there? 1 teaspoon. I've been 4 timesing this recipe. We made 200 patties yesterday, on Sunday. And I've added some curry powder. Curry is an irritant. If curry doesn't work for you, you can eliminate it. You can just up your other your other flavours if you like, but a little bit of curry, especially if you're transitioning and you're not used to more bland food, plant-based food, a bit of curry will cut the mustard, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm just putting a teaspoon of curry powder in there, and then some coriander, powdered ground coriander. All very good? There we go. And I think that's it, isn't it? Who's following me? That's it. Now, if necessary, you might need a little water, but I haven't used water to help it mix. It just mixes up beautifully. We have got some flour, but what I do is I won't put that in until I've mixed it for a bit. Okay, so I'm going to turn it on. And it's just a tablespoon of flour. It just helps put it together. While that's mixing, and that's it, folks. Now the next thing is simply, I have brought my cooker up here, but honestly I don't even think I need to turn it on and show you. But it has a very small amount of oil splashed in the pan, and you simply form this into balls from here with a little bit of, and roll it in a little bit of flour. Whoops, that's a bit much. Get that out of the way. Okay, so, and then you can make it, it's basically a falafel mix, so you can make it as falafel, just smaller balls, but I kind of like the patties, and then the plum sauce developed. We kind of work on recipes once a month, and when we were working on these, we also run programs out at Oxford, and it used to be Darfield as well, so you guys are usually third on the list, so you get the kind of perfected recipe. Trial, perfection. That's how it goes. But anyway, I kind of like the patty idea with the plum sauce, so that's how it all emerged. So yeah, just a little bit of a bigger patty. Normally falafel smaller, but it's up to you. And just a light fry either side while it's brown, and you're done and dusted. Bit of plum sauce, salad, everything you've had tonight. Simple, tasty, good. There you go.